If you've ever wanted to know how to make glitter and epoxy tumblers, but you have no idea where to start, keep on watching. I'm Alex with DIY Alex.
And I'm Kate with Kate Boyle Crafts.
And we are collaborating to bring you a magical series on DIY epoxy tumblers start to finish.
Collectively, we have over 3 whopping years of experience of doing epoxy tumblers and other epoxy crafts.
Yeah, we do. So we're going to show you a series to answer all of your basic questions. So we're going to start with how to prep a tumbler. Then we're going to show you 2 different ways to glitter a tumbler. Then we're going to make a great video that answers all your questions on how to epoxy a tumbler, followed by how to finish a tumbler and clean it up so that it looks pretty and perfect to send away to customers or to give as a gift.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started with how to prep a tumbler.
Yeah. So Katie, why is it important to prep a tumbler?
So I have always felt like the most important part of the entire process is the prepping. So what the manufacturer does is they have somewhat of a clear coat on their tumbler. So what we need to do is we need to buffer that off so that way whenever we go to apply the epoxy, it will just kind of take hold, because the main goal here is to have longevity. You don't want your customers to come back a couple months later and say, it's already started peeling. You want it to last its longest.
That makes sense. And I've noticed that with epoxy, if it doesn't have something to stick to, it tends to slide off the side or slide out of the way. So I really like the idea of prepping, and I think that it's something that's kind of unique because a lot of people don't tend to talk about the prep stage.
Right.
So
right.
I think this is a really great idea. So the first step to prepping is sanding the tumbler. So I am going to be using 220 grit sandpaper. I would say you can use anything 220 grit and above, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Anything that's considered like fine to ultra fine sandpaper is good.
Right, yep.
So we're gonna rough up the whole texture and then we'll show you what's next. I always fold mine in half. I don't know if that's normal or not, but it makes it easier for me. Does it matter if I go all in the same direction?
I usually like to try to do little circles, but then I kind of can just go everywhere. You just want to make sure you get a really good surface.
You can start to see some of the black film coming off of the tumbler or the dirt, either way, but definitely good to prep. You can really see the black coating that is all over my hands and all over the sandpaper from rubbing off that layer that Katie was talking about. So the next step is to wash the cup off so we can continue prepping. We're just gonna wash off our tumbler with soap and water so that we can get rid of this coating before our next step. I'm guessing you just like... Ew, you can see all the black.
That's probably the grossest part about the whole thing.
I can
it's
see
the
that.
stainless steel.
And then we also want to make sure that we dry it. Wipe out our nasty sink. So now that our cup is clean and dry, I'm going to use 91% rubbing alcohol and cotton pads to clean the cup once again. The reason that we like to use cotton pads is because it leaves a little bit less cotton residue than cotton balls. But Katie, I do have one question for you.
Yeah.
After you sand your tumbler, if you still see some spots left from the adhesive, do you worry about those, or are they going to be covered?
They will be covered. You know, usually after the spray paint is on, I don't typically have any kind of issue with those.
Okay, so if you have too much residue, if it really drives you crazy, you can use Goo Gone to get it off, but generally it's not something to worry about.
Don't forget to clean the bottom because we're going to glitter and epoxy the bottom as well.
Okay, so we are going to be using the Rust-Oleum 2x Ultra Cover Paint and Primer. We are going to be using it in white today, and I usually use white on the majority of my projects. I just find that most glitter will have a good base with the white.
So you'll hear other people suggest using the same color of spray paint as you do the glitter, and though that can sometimes make it a little bit of a brighter color, especially if you're using a more translucent glitter, that can be beneficial, but Katie doesn't really see the need to stock every color of spray paint under the sun. She uses white on just about everything, and so do I. Let it dry for a second, and then I'll do the bottom. After your spray paint's dry, you're finished with your prep and you're ready to start glittering your cup. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up.
And if you learned something in this video, be sure to tell us what you learned down below in the comments.
Definitely. And if you want to see more epoxy and glitter crafts, make sure that you subscribe to both Kate Boyle Crafts and DIY Alex. We'll definitely link the other channel in the subscription below.
We'll see you in the next episode.
That's a wrap.